you can see that there are fine lines under this eye. And this eye, they're like gone. It's insane. Oh my God. It works. Totally works. Watch this video so you don't waste money. If you're a woman of a certain age, there's a day where you look in the mirror and you think to yourself, when did this happen? You're bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, wrinkle-free one day, and it's like the next day you wake up and there's bags under your eyes. Where did these wrinkles come from? And how do I get rid of them? Fast. Today, I'm gonna share with you my favorite instant fix. This is for those of you who aren't interested in going under the knife, maybe can't afford to, have no interest in wearing filters or doing some of the lasers or cosmetic surgeries, but you would like to look more like you feel on the inside. I want to look my best, and there's no shame in that. Today, I'm going to help you understand why this happens so that you know which things are actually going to help, what things are a gimmick, how you can improve the appearance of your under eyes, the wrinkles, the bags, long term, some things that will actually help, but they take a while to work. And I'm going to show you something that literally takes like a minute and 30 seconds for an instant under eye fix. As I always say, it's not about fighting aging, it's about alignment. I know how I feel on the inside. And when I look in the mirror, I want those two things to match up a little bit better. Let's get to it, shall we? To state the obvious, as we age, our skin changes, but it's not just because of the passage of years. It happens, especially for women, because of a decline in our hormones. So as women enter perimenopause and estrogen starts to decline, estrogen has an incredible impact on our skin. Estrogen helps our skin to remain, and all of our tissues to remain moist. It also helps us in the production of collagen. That's why as estrogen begins to decline, you see the tissues, not just on your face, but on your hands, vaginal tissues, all over your body. You're going to notice that your skin starts to become thinner, more fragile, and more delicate, and you'll see a more pronounced appearance of fine lines. So it's not just time, it's the changing of your hormones. I'm saying that, or I'm sharing that with you because I do think it's important for you to note that women who do hormone replacement therapy tend to have or report having a better condition of their skin. I know for myself personally, when I started hormone replacement therapy, my skin improved and I started using other things like castor oil. But until I started going through perimenopause, I never noticed any fine lines. Getting on HRT did make a difference. For those of you who are either, maybe you feel like you're past the point of hormone replacement therapy, which you're probably not, you should definitely have a conversation with your clinician about that. Or maybe you are a breast cancer survivor and you're just not sure if it makes sense for you to have estrogen on board. I do want to mention that estrogen cream, specifically Estriol versus estradiol, is considered less biologically active. In other words, this is a safer form of estrogen to apply to tissues. In fact, recent studies have demonstrated that applying Estriol topically, either under the eyes or vaginally, is not significant in terms of its absorption systemically. In other words, what I'm saying is the research has shown that using Estriol versus estradiol seems to be relatively safe. Like you're not going to absorb much, if any, into your body. Having said that, I'm not your doctor. I just play one here on YouTube. So I do recommend that you speak with your clinician about this. But I started using estrogen face cream under my eyes after listening to a medical doctor who'd been treating patients for hormone replacement therapy for many, many years and understanding the bioactive ingredients in Estriol. She thought, this is for all tissues. Why wouldn't I just apply it anywhere? Under my eyes, my neck, backs of my hands where my tissues are getting thinner.
Why should you not be using this on your face? You use it in your vagina and it seems to work there. So why would you not use it on areas of your face? It made a lot of sense to me. And 25 years ago, I started using it on myself.
And since that time, people started doing many studies and it does appear to be perfectly safe. I started using it about a year and a half ago. And I can tell you, I've eliminated a lot of my other eye care routines. Like I used to put all the serums and all the expensive lotions under my eyes and around my eyes. And I really think this has made a huge difference for me. You do have to have it prescribed to you by your clinician. I get mine through my clinician at MIDI Health. MIDI does a really cool thing. They combine, this is 0.03 estriol, as well as hyaluronic acid and a face cream. This has been specifically formulated for under my eyes. I know some of you are going to ask, wait, could I just apply the vaginal estrogen cream that I have under my eyes? And while I would love to answer that for you, and I think I know the answer, I do think that is a question you better ask your own physician, especially because they're going to know your particular condition and your susceptibility to increased estrogen levels. But why not just get one that's already been formulated for under your eyes? So you can ask your clinician about that. And of course, if you don't already have a clinician, obviously I love MIDI Health. So I'll put a QR code for them here. It's chalene.com/MIDI. And you can get it directly through them. They can prescribe it for you. That's made a really big difference in my under eye care. The other thing that I do to reduce the appearance of fine lines, wrinkles, and puffiness under my eyes is when I first wake up in the morning, I just use an ice roller. I use it under my eyes. I'm not going to do it right now because it'll mess up my makeup. But I just do it for like a couple minutes under each eye, then the other eye, just while I'm drinking my coffee, and it reduces the puffiness. I know some people are really big fans of those like under eye, like, you know what I'm talking about? Those like little patches that are supposed to remove inflammation. I've tried them a million times. They drive me nuts. I'm sure they work. I didn't notice that they worked for me. Not enough for me. Like, I don't know, there's something about them on my eyes. Like they fall down. I've tried every brand and I don't like any of them. That feeling just bugs me. So, but maybe they'll work I'm just sharing what works for me. So I use this under my eyes. The other thing that I do is I will do lymphatic drainage on my face. And this is really easy. I know a lot of people use, I'm going to take off my rings. A lot of people use a gua sha stone. Why? You've got everything you need right here in your hands and it's free. So I just start like this and I go down my nose and under my cheeks. That's the first thing that I do. And I do like probably 10 or 20 sweeps, nice and light. And all that that's doing is getting fluid to move out of the face. So depending on whether you're a side sleeper, back sleeper, or you sleep with your face in the pillow, all of that water rushes forward. And the swelling, that's why you notice puffiness and swelling right when you wake up. If you've ever had a massage, you know that when you're face down and you flip over, and then when you're done with your massage and you look in the mirror, you're like, oh my, who is that? Yeah, that's because all the fluids have fallen forward. So just by lightly going under your eyes, just very lightly, 20 strokes, just with your knuckles. And you can do this with some lotion if you want. In the evenings, I do this with just a little bit of castor oil. And do I have any here? Yeah. Oh, I do. So I just use a little bit of castor oil. This is really nice because it's got a Rose Quartz roller ball, because you don't want to have plastics on your oils, right? So this is just really nice to apply just a tiny little bit on your face. And I will use that just basically to make sure that my knuckles are moving freely. So I go down my nose, around my cheeks, and then I go from my chin to my earlobes and then down my neck, from my chin to and I just do 20 strokes. Get in the habit of doing some simple lymphatic massage to your face every single morning. And I promise you this, it's going to make a difference, because as we sleep, as we age, our lymphatic system, just like everything else, doesn't work as efficiently. So it's like you're giving it a hand. You're kind of moving things through the tissues. You're activating your tissues. You're activating your lymphatic system, and you're allowing that water, that fluid retention, to drain from the face. And just like anything, even the smallest amount of fluid retention is going to make you look puffy. That's why you'll see these before and after videos and you're like, wow, they really do look quite different. Yeah, it's just the simple technique of removing the fluids. Now, is that permanent? Not necessarily. Those fluids come back based on your sleep, alcohol consumption, the consumption of salt, and of course, the condition of your tissues. It's just a super simple, free, very effective habit to get into every day before putting on your makeup. Now for the good stuff. I'm going to share with you 2 incredible products that are going to lighten and brighten your under eyes instantly. In full transparency, these are not permanent fixes. This is something if you really want to look lighter, brighter, and remove heavy bags under your eyes. Like, I don't naturally have big bags under my eyes, but they do tend to have some wrinkles and it can be thinner or sometimes darker there. I want to share with you a product that I was convinced to buy and try this after seeing this woman go viral on TikTok. And we're talking like, she's got some serious bags under her eyes. And, you know, bags under your eyes have a lot to do with genetics, of course, lifestyle, but the biggest piece of it is genetics. I mean, I remember being in my 20s and having a girlfriend who had like really seriously big bags under her eyes that she would have to try to minimize every single day. But when you looked at her dad had those same exact bags under his eyes. So, you know, listen, if you want to do surgery, do a surgery. I am having a blepharoplasty next month, and I'll take you along for the journey. But so they're just going to take just a tiny little bit of the upper lid off. I'm also doing a lower facelift, and I'll take you along for the journey. Listen, it's your face. You own it. If you want to buy products to change it, or if you want to do surgeries, that's completely up to you. I am of the mindset that if you buy a vintage car and you want to restore the seats, you can do that. Or if you want to maintain its original paint job, that's your choice too. It's yours, and it's nobody else's opinion, and it's nobody else's business. But if you're interested in that, I will be taking you along with me here on the journey. So make sure you're subscribed to my channel. Okay, this is called Peter Thomas Roth, and this is not sponsored, but I will put a QR code up so you can find this because this stuff is amazing. Okay, so I bought this product originally. It came in a black tube, and it worked, but only if you had no makeup, no oils, no nothing on your face. I'm like, what's the point of that? So I look good while I sleep? Because if I'm awake, I've got makeup on. So I'm like, well, this won't work. Then they came out with another formula that they said you could wear over your makeup. Didn't work for me. Then they came out with this one, which is the Easywear formula. And I'm telling you all this background information because when you go to the website or wherever you buy it from, make sure you get the right one. I'm going to put it up on the screen again so you can take like a screenshot of it. Okay? Because this is the one that works. Now, what I want to show you before I applied the Peter Thomas Roth is my makeup techniques. The other under eye concealer I've been using for probably 10 years is by It Cosmetics. It's called Bye Bye Under Eye. And I'll just dab a little bit of the Bye Bye Under Eye, and I'm just going to kind of lightly tap under my eye just to get rid of some of that redness. And then I just use this brush a little bit, but I honestly prefer to use my hands. I feel like it melts into my skin a little bit better. I feel like I have more control. Personally, I just think it blends better with my fingers. So this color, I don't want to just like be under the eyes. So I tend to like take those same colors, and I'll do a little like dabs down my nose. I kind of make a mask down my cheek. See how we do? And so then that becomes like the highlight of your face, right? So then and you don't need a lot. This stuff really lasts. I mean, I've had that Bye Bye Under Eye for I don't know how long. It still seems like it's brand new. I mean, you barely use any. So that's a really wise investment. So that's just brighten them up. See that? That's nice. Okay. Then if you really want to go crazy, or if you have extra on your brush, I just put some on above the line of my jaw. So it just kind of creates like a highlight right there. See how I have such terrible technique? I'm like, very, very aggressive. Okay. And you're enjoying my 5 head right now because I pulled my hair back so you could see what we're doing and not get makeup in my hair. Now I'm going to show you how very little I'm going to put on. You see that? It's like the smallest amount. Okay. Now I like to just dab it very lightly. And for me, I like to carry it down a little bit because I notice it does like lighten up. And I'm going to put out a little bit more on, just the tiniest little bit more, just in case, so you can really see the difference. And I just dab it all the way around and down a little bit so that it's almost like blended out. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Now we're gonna fan this so that it goes a little faster. Let me try to crack that. So what's happening right now is it has peptides in it, and it has seaweed and some other, I forget what the ingredient is that as it dries, it kind of like tightens, and it kind of shrinks that. Whatever that ingredient is, it kind of shrinks. And when it does, it kind of pulls your tissues taut. So it gives you the appearance of removing your wrinkles, and it will last all day. It literally lasts until I take it off at night. And I've got very, very sensitive eyes. Like everything irritates my eyes. This has been great for me, which is not to say it's going to be perfect for you. Obviously, I'm not an eye doctor. And you want to make sure that you do like a little, spot test first. But I can already feel how it's tightening and brightening my under eye. And I'm going to get up real close to the camera so you can see the difference. Look at this before and after. As you can see, one eye, the eye that I treated, it's very smooth and it almost has a lighter, brighter appearance. And the eye that I didn't treat, it's just, I don't know, you can see the crepey skin a little bit more. You can see some of my fine lines. As I mentioned, it does kind of like brighten your under eye too. Isn't that crazy? What it does, the way this works, it's the ingredients that tighten up your skin under your eye temporarily. Here's what happens. It's got silicates plus seaweed extract plus peptides. And as those things all start to dry, it like tightens. And that tightening effect, like it erases fine lines. Now it's specifically made for under your eyes, but I have seen people use it on their eyelids, around their mouth, a variety of places. I've seen people use it all over their face. Try it out, see if it works for you. I can't believe how well this, I got my mom hooked on it, my sister hooked on it, all my friends hooked on it. But I've also found that you can add powders on top of this product. It works really nicely. Now it does take some getting used to, like you've got to figure out the right amount to use for you and exactly how to apply it and blend it out. But I can't believe how easy it is to use and what a teeny tiny little amount you need to have an incredible difference. A major pro tip for you is to pat and dab and not to rub as you do with most of your makeup. So to recap, I applied the under eye concealer and then I applied the Peter Thomas Roth. And then the powder that I was using is called KimChi. And this is in the color, it's Puff Puff Pass. That's funny. And it's in the color Ivory or PPP01 Ivory. Now, this giant container will last you a lifetime. In fact, I took that giant container and I put just the smallest amount in this like little tiny container, and I've been using this for like a year. So if you need some, I'll just send you some, just joking. I'll find the link to the KimChi. I'm not sponsored by them either. That's it for the quick fixes. For the long-term game, I highly recommend considering HRT if you're a candidate for that. And if you're not, maybe talking to your clinician about using Estriol on the face and any place where your tissues are thinner. I bet you've got some tricks that you could share with me. So in the comments, let's stick together, ladies. Comment any product or anything that has worked and or hasn't worked, and you're saying, and you want to tell us like, don't buy this particular thing. Just tell us. We got to stick together when it comes to this stuff. I hope that was helpful in terms of understanding short-term fixes and long-term solutions. I would love to have you subscribe. And of course, as usual, all of the products will be linked below in our description. If you're watching on YouTube, all you do is you just tap the little description. It's truncated. You only see like a couple of sentences, but if you tap on it, it'll expand and then you'll see the whole description. You'll see the links to the products that I've talked about here, all of them, including the makeup and the ice roller, all of it. All right. I love you. I mean it. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.